Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we make connections through the lens of video games and all things pop culture. I'm your host, Jared, and our guest today is Erik Jensen. Erik is an American actor, writer, and director, best known for his roles as Dr. Stephen Edwards on The Walking Dead and Frank Cody on Mr. Robot. A Carnegie Mellon-trained performer with decades of work across film, television, and theater, he has also co-created critically acclaimed documentary-style plays, such as The Exonerated, alongside his wife, Jessica Blank. After surviving a brain aneurysm and later being diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer, Erik completed treatment and entered remission, crediting storytelling, music, and his lifelong love of comic books as anchors during recovery. Now he's giving back by selling much of his personal comic collection to benefit Sloan Kettering's Children's Cancer Center, while continuing his creative work, including the award-winning film Brooklyn, Minnesota, which he stars in with his daughter. Please let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Links to them are down below. And with all that being said,
it's Razzle Dazzle time.
Hello, Erik. Thank you so much for being on the show. How are you today?
I'm good, Jared. Thanks for having me on Razzle Dazzle.
Quick Kickstarter question before we get right into it. Who is your favorite superhero?
Oh, my favorite superhero is currently and without a doubt Mr. Miracle, created by Jack Kirby. He was a mainstay in DC Comics in the 70s when Kirby moved over from Marvel.
Yeah.
Kirby was a little bit unhappy with his situation at Marvel and decided to move over to DC and create something called the Fourth World. And that includes Mr. Miracle, it includes Darkseid, it includes the New Gods, a variety of other, the Forever People, just a variety of other wonderful characters and creatures.
Wow, incredible. I love it. Okay, and I know we're going to get deeper into all of that soon, but first, I want to start at the beginning with you. Can you tell us, where did you grow up, and how would you describe the musical background of your childhood? I see a couple of guitars in the background there.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's the Gibson, and the what else do I have over there? Hold on a second. I got the Martin, and I got the Gibson 225. So yeah, we're pretty happy about that. Musical background. Well, growing up, I grew up in the 80s, in the for real 80s, which I guess are kind of cool and kind of back again, which is a little weird. I get with Stranger Things happening and stuff like that. That kind of started a sort of an 80s nostalgia bit. But I was really into like a lot of my parents' music because we had a record player, and the record player had we had like Crosby, Stills and Nash, Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen. We had Joni Mitchell. We had like Jackson Browne. A lot of singer-songwriters. I guess my parents liked them a lot. And just we had some comedy records. We didn't have Red Fox, but we had that one guy who is so disappointing to me, I can't mention his name anymore. But we had Richard Pryor, stuck deep in the thing. He worked very blue, so I had to listen to that one when my parents were not around. But George Carlin too, so like a lot of storytellers in there, and just some really good rock music. Janis Joplin.
So. Yeah. Did you have any instruments growing up in the household? Clearly you have them now.
Yeah, well, when I was growing up, I had a piano. There was a wall stand-up piano, black, beautiful piano, that was always going out of tune because we were near a lake. And I took lessons for a long time. I grew up in a very small town in northern Minnesota. That's about 45 miles east of Fargo, North Dakota. But the population of the town was about 9,000 people. So the woman who gave me piano lessons was also the choir leader, was also the music teacher at the school. So I took piano lessons for a while. Piano, loved playing it. Didn't really hit for me. It would be another probably 8 years before somebody at college, my freshman year, threw a guitar in my hands, and that was a match made in heaven.
Did you have any video game consoles growing up by any chance?
Oh yeah, at Atari 2600.
Wow.
I'm old school, dude.
Yeah.
My friend had an Intellivision. I was very jealous of him, but I had the good old we had Pong.
Yeah.
We had the original, like, way back in the day, but, yeah, I had an Atari 2600, and we had oh, I don't know what was on there. I think there was definitely a Pac-Man on there, maybe something called Battlezone,
Hmm.
um, uh, maybe an Indiana Jones game that was notorious. I'm not sure what else. A tank battle game that was interesting, Space Invaders or
Yeah.
some variation thereof. Yeah, yeah. I love my Atari 2600. I wish I still had it.
What would you say is like your favorite kind of video game then?
My actually my favorite kind of video game is like the Baldur's Gate type games. I love the
Oh.
strategy games. Yeah, Baldur's Gate is a big deal for me. I've played all of them, except for the most recent one. I didn't
Hmm.
have time to get into that
It's
because I've been
long.
writing a lot of screenplays. But it's a long game.
Yeah.
But I like the strategy games where you can move around chess pieces and make characters make decisions based on your choices. I loved World of Warcraft.
Hmm.
I loved creating potions and selling them, and I loved being on the market, and I loved joining teams and going on quests together and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved World of Warcraft a little too much. My wife became what we call a World of Warcraft widow, and so she started going on online forums about how do I get my husband off this game. And actually what it took was me seeing the South Park, the infamous South Park on World of Warcraft, for me to go, maybe it's time for me to stop. I found myself arguing over some 14-year-old in Piscataway with, over a staff of power or something like that. And I was just like, I need to create plays, movies, and television. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's
So,
so funny. I've heard stories of like wives or like or partners, significant others will have to like make their own accounts to then find their spouse in the game and then tell them like, "Hey, get off! I need you to do the dishes or something."
yes, exactly, exactly. It didn't quite go that far, but the good thing is I did get in touch with some old friends from high school and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I enjoyed playing online with them. It was fun.
I love it. So, are you a more console gamer or a PC gamer?
More of a PC gamer. The console game thing sort of passed me by a little bit. I'm into a lot of physical media.
Mm-hmm.
PC gaming definitely, but and I've done voiceovers for a bunch of video games too. You'd have to check on my IMDb to see
Yeah.
which ones. I don't think I've ever played any of the games that I've done voiceovers for, but I did some stuff for Rockstar a while back, and one game that got banned, which was super interesting because it was so violent. But yeah, so mostly I'm a physical media guy. I really like acoustic instruments. I like vinyl. I like listening to records on vinyl as
Hmm.
much as I can. It makes a more private experience. I discover bands through the Spotify's and the Apple Musics, and then if I like them enough, like Arcade Fire was a recent discovery. For me anyway. I know they've been around forever. I'm joining the party late, but then I picked up something on vinyl, and I was like, this is worthy of being in the vinyl rotation. So I have about 1,500
Wow.
record
Oh
albums,
my God.
and I have a bunch of cassettes too. I've been listening to cassettes a lot lately. I have a very small collection of CDs that I listen to, but mostly it's the vinyl and the cassettes. And if I need to write, I don't want to get up and change over the records so much. So if I
Yeah.
need to write, I'll keep a steady stream of like whatever psychedelic jazz I'm listening to or whatever.
Nice. To piggyback off of that, do you remember the first physical media or first physical music you've owned that was yours that you bought with your own money?
That I bought with my own money. It was
Mm-hmm.
definitely the first physical media that I bought with my own money was one of two albums. Oh, it was a Kenny Rogers album called The Gambler.
Mm-hmm.
But then the album that I got after that was Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Nice.
And then I got a copy of Purple Rain,
Oh.
and that was I got it was a where you'd make tape to tape copy.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in there too, I got a copy of a Paul McCartney album called tug of war, and I became a Paul McCartney and Wings fan, which was a really weird way into the Beatles, but I sort of found a back door. Yeah.
I love that. Well, this next question requires a bit of context, so please bear with me. As I mentioned before recording, I am a producer and audio engineer for an NPR PBS station here in Southwest Florida, and we have this other show called Three Song Stories where we tell people's biography through music. The guests will come in and they'll pick three songs that every time they listen to these songs, they immediately get transported back in time to a place where they have a significant story associated with it. It could be anything. It could be a fun
Uh,
little anecdote, something like, super somber, maybe depressing, or like super happy and joyful and whatever. I want to ask you off the top of your head, do you have one song story you're willing to share?
Yes, absolutely. Many years ago, I had the good fortune, we're about to make a movie about him actually. I had the good fortune to contact the Lester Bangs estate. Lester Bangs, if you didn't know it, is the gonzo rock critic who appeared in the film Almost Famous.
Wow.
Philip Seymour Hoffman played him in Almost Famous. Lester Bangs was a real person. And I contacted the Lester Bangs estate with this crazy idea of going through all of his letters and journals and original material and creating a play out of it. And little did I know the project would take almost 5 or 6 years because he wrote so much, and it took that long for us to catalog everything. But anyway, once we got it cataloged, we turned the play into a one man play where Lester realizes that he's accidentally invited the whole audience over for an evening of music, and has to keep them busy while he finds the records he's looking for. So sort of along the way, you get his life story, and you get to listen to a bunch of good music, and it's super cool. So the records Lester introduced me to through going through his file. I mean, he's literally one of the greatest gonzo rock journalists on the planet. There are very few people who match him. um, uh, one of the greatest writers of his era turned out to be a rock critic, in my opinion. But he's up there with Tom Wolfe and other people, in my opinion. But yeah, so he introduced me to a lot of music through reading him, and all of his stuff was written in the first person. So he always felt like he was talking to you. He never talked down to his audience. He met you at your level. So, I mean, he basically was one of the people who invented the word punk. He was really into he championed bands like Iggy and the Stooges. He championed Kiss early on, sort of, kind of as a joke, I think. But then they grew much bigger, and then he wasn't into them after that. He championed a band called the MC5, which are a very important punk band for all you punk band people out there, punk music people out there. And then the album that I think of when I listen to Lester, even though it's not a band that he wrote much about, it's an album I discovered along the way to learning about who Lester Bangs was, is by a band called Big Star, and the song is called Ballad of El Goodo. And it's a song about going through difficult times. One of the lines from the song is, "I've been working hard against unbelievable odds." And but the character in the song says basically, "That's all right, because at my side is God." And it's just a very uplifting song. It's got a weird beat. You can't dance to it, and you can't even slow dance to it. You just have to kind of drive to it. You have to drive on a slow highway to it. And it's just got a lot of uplifting feeling to it, and especially after the year and a half that I've had, it's been in rotation probably a lot more than I would have liked it to. And there ain't no one going to turn me around. Ain't no one going to turn me around.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, how does that song fit into your life today?
Well, I guess I don't know if a lot of people out there know what I do. Really, I'm an actor, writer, director, and I've been fortunate to be on shows like Walking Dead and Mr. Robot and every Law and Order. I was in a lot of movies in the '90s, I think, including a Martin Lawrence movie called Black Knight, which is my claim to fame sometimes, depending on what neighborhood I'm in. What else? What other shows? The Americans. I was on that for a minute. I was on a show called For Life on ABC. So I've just been. I played New York Yankee Thurman Munson in The Bronx is Burning in the miniseries. If you're into baseball at all, he was the '77 catcher for the New York Yankees. So I've been very lucky to have this very wild career, and then on top of that, a writing career. My wife and I wrote the play The Exonerated, which was based on interviews we conducted with exonerated death row inmates. We wrote a play called Aftermath, based on interviews we conducted with Iraqi refugees during the war. And then another play that we recently did with musician Steve Earle called Coal Country, where we interviewed families of 29 miners who were killed in a horrible and, I believe, avoidable mine explosion in West Virginia. And we wove those songs and stories into an overall tapestry. And then eventually it played in New York to really the best reviews we've ever gotten, and then we brought it back to West Virginia, to the town where it happened, and played it for the community as a play. So and it's also on Audible if anybody wants to hear that. I'll put the link up with you there. But the song means a lot to me, Ballad of El Goodo, in this context. My wife and I, like I said, are hyphenates. We write direct. For our second movie, we decided to do a small, low budget movie, smaller than our last film, because we designed it to sort of shoot in 1 to 9 locations. We wanted to be very lean, a lean operation, and we knew we wanted to have really good actors in it. And we knew we wanted to work together, and we knew we wanted to work with our daughter, who's a really good actor. So we went to a friend of ours' house as we were talking about this movie. I had a brain aneurysm, and I was getting over that, and we were getting over COVID, and the brain aneurysm almost killed me, and I needed to sleep a lot. And so we went to our friends in Italy, and they hosted us for like a week and a half. And it was just so nice. And we hadn't seen our friends Han and Heather in a long time. And we started to talk about Minneapolis, all of us, and how we all had a connection to Minneapolis. And we started to talk about that there's a film industry in Minneapolis, and that Han knew a couple of guys who actually owned a film company, and maybe would help us get a film made if we wanted to do one there. And Heather mentioned that she'd always wanted to act, but she hadn't done it. And Heather is just, drop dead beautiful, and just got a warm heart and an incredible presence. I knew she'd be great on camera, even though she hasn't done much camera work. And, and obviously Sadie was interested in the family business a little bit, and she'd been around the theater and been in a couple of our films before in small parts. But so Han and I went for a walk, and we went up into the mountains. And by the time we came back, we had the whole storyline worked out for a movie that we could shoot in Minnesota with a low budget, about a girl and her dad who go back to Minnesota for her dad's father's funeral. The problem is that the character that I play, the dad, lied to his daughter and said that the grandfather was dead. And the grandfather hadn't been dead till he died, and then they had to go back for the funeral. So she is in fact meeting her estranged family for the first time, people that she never really knew existed. What else? And so it's a coming of age story about her. The adults in it are secondary characters. But it was really wonderful. Amy Madigan from Weapons is in it. She plays Aunt Gladys in Weapons. So it was really great to work with her, and it was really great to step back from the camera for a little bit in the scenes with just Amy and my daughter, to watch Amy, who's like this legendary actor who was in Field of Dreams and so many other things, to watch her guide my daughter into how to hit a mark, how to learn the name of everybody on the crew, how to be polite, how to show up on the set quiet and prepared, how to stay out of the way when it's not your time to be at the center of things. You know, how to take your moment, how to build a character. Like all of these things these are hard to teach even in an acting school. And I was watching Amy teach it to my daughter on set. Amy is a great leader of actors. So we were very fortunate to get somebody as kind and gracious as she was as part of the thing. And she raised the acting level. I mean, everybody everybody showed up on time and off book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Amy was in the movie. Nobody was screwing around. So anyway, we had the sublime experience of, like, it was almost like going to summer camp. Instead of going to summer camp, we all made a movie together. And so for 26 days we shot. And then I had an incident happen. I went to the bathroom and there was blood in the toilet where there shouldn't have been, a lot of it. And I'd had some spotting before, but I thought it had just been from hemorrhoids or something. And I brought my wife in to say, am I seeing things? And she said, you are not seeing things. We're going to get you a colonoscopy when you get back to New York. And I said, okay. So 2 days after we finished filming the movie, I'm in New York and I'm being told by a doctor that I have stage 4 colorectal cancer. And back in the day, that was a death sentence. You know, you can't come back from that. And I had no symptoms outside being a little tired and this little bit of blood that happened once. And it scared the hell out of me and it woke me up. And it made me take instant stock of what was important to me. And so in that context, I'm going to call it up here just so I can read the lyrics to you. Okay, so the lyrics go like this. I won't do all of them, so I thought I was going to die, and our producer said, of course we'll put a pause in the movie, and I was like, no. If this is going to be the last thing I do, I want to go out with all guns blazing. So we're going to edit. Like, we'll take a week off. We'll get, start chemo, like get that whole thing rolling. But I'm going to be at the editing room, at the editing bay and Gordon, our editor, graciously agreed to move into our office downstairs and set up his rig down there so I could get chemo, take a nap, then roll downstairs, have my daughter take me down, sit me in my chair, get a big blanket up over me, and participate in the editing of the film. Takes a village,
Yeah.
But the lyrics to Ballad of El Goodo go like this. Years ago, my heart was set to live, and I've been trying hard against unbelievable odds. It gets so hard in times like this now to hold on. But guns they wait to be stuck by, and at my side is God. And there ain't no one gonna turn me round. Ain't no one gonna turn me round. There's people round who tell you that they know, and places where they send you, and it's easy to go. They'll zip you up and dress you down and stand you in a row, but you know you don't have to. You could just say no. And then the bridge is, I've been built up and trusted, broke down and busted, but they'll get theirs and we'll get ours if you can just hold on, hold on, hold on. So that song I'd always liked, but in the context of having stage 4 cancer, I really loved. It was my rallying cry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful story. Of course, devastating, the things that you have to go through. And
Oh yeah, the other news is that they cured me, which is,
Yeah.
I bleed a little bit, and looks like we're pretty much in the clear, so that's good. I still have to go back for scans and stuff like that. That is a little nerve-wracking, but things are pretty good right now.
Yes, and I do want to put a pin in that because we are gonna dive deeper into it. But just thank you so much for sharing that, and I'm so happy that that you got to share that here. Before we get further deeper into that, I want to start. I want to continue on to at least like the start of your career for acting and storytelling. I want to know what first planted the seed for these things in your life. Was there a specific moment that you remember, like something like a movie you saw, a comic you read, something that lit that spark?
Well, it was Star Wars for me all the
Eh,
way. I
okay.
mean, look, I wanted to be alternately Luke Skywalker and Han Solo.
Yeah.
I loved Peter Cushing, who played uh, Admiral. Oh, he was the bad admiral who blew up the planet.
Tarkin.
What?
Tarkin.
Tarkin, Admiral Tarkin. Peter Cushing, I'd known as a kid from old Hammer horror movies. He was
Hmm.
like, he played like uh, uh, the Dracula's nemesis in Dracula, and him and a number of other British actors were in these like schlocky kind of like color horror films, very gothic, with sort of weird, sometimes occasionally a rock and roll soundtrack, but mostly with these gothic soundtracks. It was pretty fantastic. The guy who played Saruman in the Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
movies was a Hammer guy. So like Lucas was like really casting his favorite actors in Star Wars. I met Anthony Daniels not too long ago at a convention. He gave me an autograph, which was pretty.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, it was Star Wars all the time and everywhere. But also the Pythons. I was really into Monty
Mm.
Python. I was into a thing that Peter Sellers did called The Goon Show, which was a radio show. There was a group of guys who did a comedy record called the Firesign Theater. I was into them. But you know, the combination between those things and Kurt Vonnegut, the novelist, really made me want to be a storyteller, because like Kurt Vonnegut was sort of like Mark Twain. You know, he could really like tell a tale.
Right.
And then I got involved in theater and speech and declamation in high school, and I never looked back. You know, I think my first speech that I won an award for at a competition was literally the back and forth between Gollum and Bilbo in The Hobbit about the ring, and you stole my
Wow.
ring, the question scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my uh, first prize foray into
That's
competition.
so cool. Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
so I mean, it was that, and I did community theater with my parents.
yeah, yeah.
That was when things were the best between us all, because we were in an environment my house was pretty tumultuous and chaotic. And
Mm.
when you go to a rehearsal, there's like kind of rules and manners, and you're all joining together for a joint effort, and you can see where the seams are, where things need to be fixed, and as opposed to a household where people are throwing things at each other. So
Right.
it was really a relief to be around adults who were more grown up than my dad was.
I understand. Um, Fast forward now. For now, you are a prolific actor now and storyteller. You've been on so many things, like you've already mentioned, Walking Dead, Mr. Robot. Um, Looking back, is there a character that has taught you the most about yourself as an actor?
Oh yeah, I mean, I mentioned it before, but you know, Thurman Munson was the catcher for the Yankees. He was the
Yeah.
team captain. He played with the Yankees. I think he won 3 World Series with them. I might have the numbers wrong. It's been a while since I played him, so my numbers are off. But we looked exactly alike. I had to gain 26 pounds to play the part, because I wanted my stats to be the same as they were on the back
Right.
of the baseball card, right? And I got to play baseball with a bunch of minor league players and some major league players for 3 months. So,
Very cool.
like, I was in heaven there. But Thurman taught me how to be a leader. Like, people, first of all, because I believe that when you're an actor on set, your demeanor leads. Like, the route that you decide to take and how you treat people sets the stage for everybody else. And um, that was a fairly little bit chaotic set. There was some chaos there for a little bit, because it was so many dudes and there was so much testosterone, and the Yankees famously fought anyway, so we were playing with a lot of aggressive energy. So sometimes things would slide off the rails a little bit, but as a calm center to the storm was me. And I'd never really considered myself much of a leader before. I'd always considered myself to be more of a follower and let's get it done kind of guy, And, I believed that my behavior set the stage for everybody else's. And not to be egotistical about it, but I wanted to make sure that the younger actors on the team and that my fellows on the team, my compatriots, my friends, that we were all representing the production with a degree of grace and aplomb without losing our baseball edge. Yeah, so yeah, that's the movie that I became miniseries that I became a real leader on. I mean, I was working opposite John Turturro and Ollie Platt,
Mm.
and my good friend Daniel Sunyata, and they all set a high bar. But that's the miniseries I learned to be a leader on. And
Awesome.
actually, I think ultimately, like I asked the director lots of questions as we were shooting. I think ultimately it turned me into a director too.
That's so cool. Oh my god, I love
Yeah,
that for you.
yeah.
Um, so now catching up, um, as you mentioned, you've recently completed treatment for um, colorectal cancer, and again, congratulations on beating it. When you think about that period in your life, that period of time, what helped you stay grounded and hopeful throughout?
Well, I mean, it was hard, dude. I mean, because they weren't just giving me chemo and putting poison in my blood. They
Right.
took out 2 inches of my colon. They resected my liver in 3 places to get tumors out of my liver. They removed my gallbladder. They installed this like robotic pump that's a miracle that delivers high density chemo that the rest of your body can't take directly to the liver.
Hmm.
It operates off body heat. It's about the size of a hockey puck. So when I go through the airport security line, they go, "What the hell is that?" I'm RoboCop. I don't want to fade on the question.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a real battle. Well, my wife and my family helped me stay grounded and hopeful, and that's the cliche answer, but it's really the truth. Like, because when you get cancer, and the whole family gets cancer, and because somebody becomes the caregiver, and in the meantime, I have to also hold the line for my young daughter who just had a great time making a movie with her dad and hasn't seen her dad sick really before, and it can be a very frightening time for a kid. And it's not a matter of faking it for them. I think it's a matter of being honest and being, I don't feel so good today. But like really taking the time to like, hey, let me see what you're working on at school. Tell me about school today. What happened? Oh, is that person giving you trouble again? Or, oh, I thought you guys were not friends anymore. Oh, you're friends again. Oh, that's great. And she goes to an art school. She's studying acting at an art school. So there's
Cool.
lots for us to talk about. So I think the hardest part of the battle was like really staying engaged as a human being. And oddly enough, that staying engaged as a human being is the thing that revived me the most, that probably healed me the most, outside of changing my diet and not eating sugar anymore, and stopping drinking coffee now, which is
Mm.
crazy. I can't imagine that I would ever be a green tea drinker, but that's what I am now. And then just I really appreciate my wife, though. My wife, I have had lawyers tell my wife she should be a lawyer, artistic directors tell my wife she should be an artistic director, and doctors tell my wife she should be a doctor, because
Wow.
she really does her research and she got them on some stuff really quick. She really gets people to work at their best. And that's what makes her a great producer and a co-director. So she really got the team of doctors to really work at their highest level and really consider options they may not have considered if it wasn't for her input. And for that, I have to thank her, because she saved my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Um, to relate a little bit, I my stepmom
Mm,
is going through chemotherapy currently
I'm
for
so sorry.
for um I'm not even sure like what it is. Like it's some type of cancer that she has, but like
Mm,
my dad hasn't been very descriptive about it.
okay.
So
All
like
right.
there's only so much I know. and they're like 3 hours away from where I live. So
Right.
yeah. So when Danny emailed me about you and your story, I'm like, oh wow, like not only is it cool that you're an actor and you've done all these cool parts, but like this story that you are telling is important, and I'm really grateful that you're trusting this show as a platform to also help share it. So I just wanted to take the time and say that. So
Well,
thank you.
thanks, and I hope she's okay.
Thank you.
But that's an example of everybody
Yeah.
knows somebody or has a family member who eventually has or will get cancer.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm not going to get too political on you, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact funding for cancer research just got cut is a travesty because cancer does not care how you vote.
Mm.
And I learned that when I walked into Memorial Sloan Kettering for the first time and saw how many people looked like a cross section of New York City when I walked in there. It was a variety of colors and religions and political beliefs and ages, and seeing kids there is hard.
Mm.
But I would not have known had I passed 70% of the people on the subway that they were struggling with anything at all.
Yeah.
It's a very quiet disease, and we spend far too much time hiding from it
Mm.
and not enough time, But I also have to say the other thing that surprised me was how big and wonderful and generous a community I have. The second that various members of my community found out that I was sick, I all of a sudden had friends to have movie night with.
Aw.
And I had friends to come over and play cards with me, and I had friends to come over and play music with me, which still is happening to this very day. I have a mandolin that Steve Earle gave me. That's my pride and joy, and I play it with my friend Gordon once a week, and we do all sorts of great songs, Warren Zevon songs, stuff like that. And and then outside of that community, my wife and I had to start a GoFundMe because of my inability to work circumstance that was
Right.
happening. My work is tied to whether I have insurance or not.
Mm.
And through just the machinations of insurance, and I was like $2,000 short on my pay that year, and my insurance was about to lapse. So somebody started a GoFundMe. I'm not sure who, but we went to my friend Scott Gimple, who's the overall showrunner for the Walking Dead series, and said, "Hey, would you post this?" And the next morning we woke up and there were like tens of thousands of Walking
Wow.
Dead fans who had given money to the GoFundMe.
Oh
I
my
mean, it
God.
was ridiculous. $25 here, $5 there. I'm exaggerating the number. It must
Yeah.
have been
Yeah.
five to 10,000 people.
Still.
And $25 here, $10 here. People left notes and stuff, and it was really cool. And it was really cool of Scott to do that. My friend Paul Bettany, who plays the Vision in the Marvel movies, he put it up.
That's so cool.
Emily. I'm forgetting her name. She plays Beth on The Walking Dead now. Emily Kinney put some up for her fans, and all of her fans came in and helped out. The guy who plays, is it Deegan, the guy with the bat? Jeffrey, I can't remember Jeffrey's last name. He's a major star of the show. He and I had crossed paths, but we'd never really spoken.
Yeah.
He put up an Instagram, and that
Wow.
made it happen. So like Mr. Robot and Walking Dead fans helped save my life too. People I'd never met, people I may never meet again, people I can't write a thank you note to. So
That's a clear example of something that
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, that's who that was. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey D. Morgan.
Yeah.
That's a prevalent example of something that I love about pop culture, and that's something that we try to emphasize here on this show, that like regardless of who you are, where you are, what you believe in, or whatever, there are things that we have in common. Whether it's music, whether it's a show, a movie, whatever it is, we have things in common, and we wouldn't know otherwise until we are put in that space. So for the Walking Dead fans, for the Mr. Robot fans, who would think that these two different types of shows, these two different genres of media could come together for one single cause, right?
Yeah.
And this can be taken further to like a convention where like there are thousands of people there for 100 different reasons, but 50 of those people could be in a line for this one voice actor, this one actor, this one person,
Hmm.
because they have played roles in so many different other projects, and therefore all of these people have something in common and therefore can come together and be friends and make connections. And it's very clear that with you in your case, like, you didn't even start it. You said that people, your community, your fans put this together, and then the people around your friends also like extended that, and just there's a giant branch, so
Right.
like,
Well, I want to just make something clear. My
yeah,
fans participated. I'm not aware of who in my community put it together.
right,
So let's just put it that way.
yeah, yeah,
But the fact that everybody participated and really spread the word and stuff like that showed me how much love there is in the community. And
yes.
especially now when the country is so split and everybody's so mad at each other, like people gathered. Not It's not that I really matter, but illness matters and life and death matters. And once you start talking about stuff like that, people's beliefs or things that they think there are beliefs slip away, and they just want to be people again.
Yeah.
So I haven't introduced you to. I was told you had a prop, and people can't see it, but this is something I sculpted, not 3D printed. This is Lothar, the Cthulhu.
Oh,
Uh,
that is so cool. You
yeah,
sculpted that?
I sculpted that, and the skull glows. I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons guy. I actually am the dungeon master for a game that's been ongoing for 4 years. We just took a break last year, and I've been working on another one. So, I got to make sure I stay well so I can finish that Dungeons and Dragons game.
Yes. That's so cool. So
Yeah.
very clearly talented. That's really cool. Amazing job, like,
Yeah,
honestly.
thank you. I made all these props for the game. I spent a year just making bridges and
Wow.
platforms and monsters. And this is a giant statue that, like, there's a ring of these guys that are around a glowing crystal skull down
Yeah.
at the bottom. Yeah, no, totally.
That's so
The
cool.
sort of overmind that's been controlling the whole thing.
My co-host and I, we've been friends for years. One of them I've known since middle school. Every month we do like an episode, like a monthly roundup episodes, like a series every month.
Mhm.
And half of it, like halfway into those episodes, we have our own little D&D session. So like
Oh,
we
that's
take
cool.
the time, like we make sure that every month we are at least doing like that, if not
Yeah,
anything else.
yeah, it'll keep you going.
Yeah, but yeah, sense of community, right? It's I just think it's really cool that, again, regardless of what you believe in, there are people that have things in common and will come together for things like this, and I think that's beautiful. That's just
Yeah.
incredible. Now you've shared that comics as well has played a big part in helping you through your treatment. Can you talk a little bit about what it felt like to reconnect with comic books during such a difficult time?
Well, I had actually written my own graphic novel.
Really?
Here it is. It's called The Reconcilers, and the cover is
Wow.
by the late great Neil Adams, my friend who helped me edit the comic book, and one of our collaborators. I collaborated on the creation of the world with two other friends, and they asked me to write the comic book since I'd had the most experience working for High Times magazine as a
Mm.
cartoonist, and
Oh,
and
wow.
was the most into comic books out of us. And I'd written in other forms before, but I'd always wanted to write in the comic book form. So it's a 96-page graphic novel called The Reconcilers. It's out there; you can find it. And it takes place in the future. It's sort of like a rollerball-esque kind of world where corporations fight over mining rights
Mm.
through gladiatorial combat that's televised, and of course the big corporations have the upper hand, and so we see a little corporation, a little business go up against a big business and win the game. I mean, that's I'm not giving away the ending, but that's kind of where it's going. um, the little guy's got to win.
Yeah.
So yeah, so so I'd written my own, and had obviously, since I was 12, I'd been reading Justice League. I'd been reading a thing called the All-Star Squadron. Been super into writers like Marv Wolfman, and super into people like Jeanette Kahn, who became a friend. She was the head editor, I think that's her title, of DC Comics for like 30 years. She was the head of Mad Magazine for a while. I mean, talk
Wow.
about what a boys' club, and she's like a woman coming in there and like taking over editorial duties.
Yeah.
So she was great. She is a great friend. But yeah, so I'd always admire these E. Nelson Bridwell, these strange characters whose names I could barely pronounce. Bill Sienkiewicz, artists like Frank Miller. I knew the artists by looking at the cover of the comic book. I could tell who it was by. So right around the time I was 12, I'd read lots of Superman comic books and stuff like that. And right around the time I was 12, I came upon the Chris Claremont run of the X-Men.
Wow.
And
I'm
that's like,
recently getting into the X-Men myself.
oh, well, Chris Claremont is a great place to start.
Okay.
If you start with the Chris Claremont run, I think John Byrne starts the first issue. I'm not sure when the Claremont run starts, but it starts in the early 80s. I don't have an exact date for
Right.
you, but he was the best X-Men writer, and he wrote like, I don't know, 400 issues of X-Men. I mean, it was
Wow.
ridiculous. I don't have the stats.
Yeah.
But he understood the X-Men better than anybody, and understood that they were teenagers coming into their own power, and that was the appeal of the book for kids like me.
Yeah.
Was it was a metaphor for adolescence. It was a metaphor for coming out for some kids. It was a metaphor for finding the things that you were talented at for other kids. It was a metaphor for how to have friends and how to work as a group.
Mm.
And so many important things came out of the X-Men. It also was, I don't think it was moralistic in its tale, but it definitely had doing the right thing is important. Things like honor, duty, loyalty, that these things really mattered. And in a world where, people just seem to stab each other in the back all the time. And so having a story of people coming together every week or every 2 weeks to dive into was incredibly important for me at that time. So, and it got me reading too, which just, my vocabulary was ridiculous from reading comic books, but I got into that, and I started collecting. And I was one of those very careful collectors who would read the comic book like 5 or 6 times and then put it in the plastic bag and put it in the thing. But over the course of my lifetime, I probably lost more comic books than I kept, but I gained about 3,500 comic books that I carried around the country with me as I moved to college, as I eventually moved back to New York, and as I got married. And when I had cancer, I realized that they were just sitting there.
Mm.
And while my daughter loves the movies, and while I love my comic books, I have collections of all of the comics that I'm really super into.
You just mentioned that you're friends with Paul Bettany, the Vision, which is cool.
Yeah, well, I did a play with Paul. Paul and I are friends. We're friends. I did a play with Paul, and it's a nice way to become friends with somebody because you work together, And yeah, Paul and I are definitely friends. We give each other a lot of shit. He's one of the funniest men I've ever met. I'm also friends with Nathan Fillion, who plays Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I'm friends with a lot of superheroes. It's very
so
weird.
Cool. I'm sorry. Do you ever just like geek out about that sometimes?
I try not to. I think if I got around James Gunn, I'd start pitching him writing ideas. But I'm sure a lot of people get around him and do that. But I realized that while she might enjoy the movies and stuff like that, my daughter's not going to take these floppy comic books and want them or do anything with them. And so I started to go through them, and I started to separate out the ones that were super well loved, in other words, in bad condition, from the ones that had were good quality. And I didn't know quite what I was doing when I started. All I knew was that I wanted to alphabetize them, so I
Mm-hmm.
started doing that. And then as I was doing it I hired an assistant to help me. And as I was doing that, I went, huh, I wonder what these are worth. So I'd throw one in a bag and my assistant would look it up. And he said, well, if it's an 8.5 grade and you put it in this case, it's worth $200. And I was like, huh, I wonder what I can do with these. So I started to concoct the idea, come together of taking a generous portion of the proceeds of the sales of my original comic book collection, slabbed and graded, and donating the money to Memorial Sloan Kettering's Children's Cancer Foundation. Because the hardest thing about seeing my daughter in the hospital was visiting the children's cancer ward in DC. And kids shouldn't have to go through that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to go through what a very adult me went through, and was in pain and frightened the whole time. Kids shouldn't have to go through that kind of fear. So I know it's only a drop in the bucket. There are foundations that give millions and millions and millions of dollars, but I'm doing a drive with the comics that I have now to sell them, and then a generous portion of the proceeds, of the net proceeds, goes to Memorial Sloan Kettering's Children's Cancer Fund.
Which is an amazing thing to do. And again, this is all coming clearly from the heart, something that you went through personally, and also this is your
Mm.
personal collection that you want to do this amazing thing for. So
Yeah,
I
we've raised about $1,500 so far, which is not bad,
it's yeah.
and so that's why we're reaching out to shows like yours, kind of wide and far, just hoping that we can spread the word and get the work out there. So
Yes, of course. And obviously, we're going to leave this links in the description of this episode towards that. And I do want to urge people, like, if you can, it goes towards a great cause. Now, for more about the importance, I guess, of what this will mean for these kids, right? People often say superheroes help us like escape. Reading a comic book or playing a game or whatever, watching a movie is a good escape for the realities of life. But sometimes they do help us fight. Did you see yourself directly in any of these superheroes in your collection, and any of the ones that you like during this time that you kind of hope that these kids will resonate with?
yeah, well, I mean, Wolverine's
Yeah.
cool. Like, Wolverine's got a healing factor. Nothing can stop him. And wouldn't it be great if we had cancer research that did that? We're very close in cancer research to having mRNA vaccines that actually give you a healing factor for cancer, that use your own body's DNA to fight the cancer that you have. We're really, really close. And there's going to be, and science is important. Comic books and science fiction books are very science forward. They put that before they put real science in there. Like, I knew what a black hole was, not from my history, my science class. I knew what it was from Superman, Super Friends family. I knew what a quasar was, not from my
Right. Oh
science
my God,
class. But
Quasar. I was
yeah,
just thinking about Quasar
I
the
love
other
quasar.
day, because one of the first batches of comic books I've ever gotten, it was just a
Uh-huh.
box filled with them. It contained Savage Dragon from
Oh, love Savage Dragon.
Image. There was a lot of Doctor Doom 2099,
Oh yeah,
and there
sure.
was a good chunk of Quasar, which I never heard of. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, the Guardians just came out, the movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm into the cosmic stuff. Let's see what this is about. It's just
yeah.
crazy that you brought that up. Just okay.
Quasar is cool. Some of those 70s, born in the 70s superheroes like the Guardians and Quasar are pretty cool. They're
Yeah.
pretty hip. Give anybody with a handlebar mustache and a costume who's rocking that look, it's got to be okay in my book. Yeah, no, and so, like, I knew what stuff was, based on science, and the science is out there. And, I think I draw great comfort from, there's a there's a there's some comic characters that have healing abilities that
Yeah.
can heal other characters by taking on their wounds. My first character that I ever played at Dungeons and Dragons was a cleric, which is a big time healer. I mean, it made comics make magic real, and sometimes kids really need that, and it gives them an opportunity to visualize getting well. Comic books can sometimes, to
Yeah.
visualize fighting, to visualize what the cancer might look like and what it might be to go in there with the laser blast and cut it out. And science fiction is now science fact. Doctors are doing exactly just that. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Side note. Like I mentioned, I'm recently getting into the X-Men, and I binged all of the original animated series. I binged.
Are you into X-Men 87, the new
Yeah, I watched
yeah,
97, and it is spectacular. And
yeah.
again, I'm
It's
so happy
great.
that I get to
Yeah.
call some of these voice actors friends, and they've been on the show. I've
Yeah.
watched all of X-Men Evolutions. I actually
Sure.
know the voice of Colossus, Michael Adamthwaite. He's really cool dude. And now I'm like watching Wolverine and the X-Men, that animated series. I binged all of the movies again recently. So
Uh
like I've been going through like an X-Men thing because I've never really gotten into the X-Men before. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
figure like, this is like a good time to, and like, and
Yeah,
I
they're about to re-enter the Marvel universe, and
yeah,
they're
I
going to be part of the
know.
Secret Wars movies, and they're going to
Yeah.
be part of the Doom movie, and I think
Yes.
it's just going to be great.
In
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals, Rogue and Gambit are just came out as playable characters as of recording, right?
Well, that's
So
cool.
that's
Wow.
super freaking cool. Um, I've gotten like a couple of graphic novels around some X-Men stuff. I got like this X-Men Homecoming graphic novel. I'm loving it. I'm loving it so
Oh
far.
yeah, I'm a big New Mutants guy. Bill
Yeah.
Sienkiewicz. Bill Sienkiewicz came out of nowhere. I think it's issue 20 or something like that. The New Mutants was like a pretty
Mm-hmm.
straightforwardly drawn comic book. No love lost on the original artist. He was great. But Bill Sienkiewicz came along and started doing really wild things with the characters, like stretching them and showing their interior lives, and creating actual magic happening with the pen on the
Yeah.
page. He did stuff with color and darkness that I'd never seen before. He came up with the Demon Bear thing,
Right.
that whole
With
thing. That was his
with
concept.
Danny,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so yeah, I'm a big fan of the New Mutants. Getting rid of those comics was the hardest for me, my
Yeah.
New Mutants comics, but I still got the stories and my little collected works there, so it's all right.
Right. For the listeners who want to support, what's the best way to get involved, donate, or help spread the word? We're already going to leave the links in the description, but just to like, for to say
Well,
it.
just when you have a chance to donate to any cancer charity, please do it. It's like it's important. They need the funding now more than ever, since a bunch of government funding has been pulled. A decision I will never understand, and cannot forgive, especially for kids' cancer. So you can go to one of the two links here, and if you purchase one of the comic books, that's a way to donate. You can also link directly to Memorial Sloan Kettering's Children's Cancer Center. DC Children's Hospital has a great cancer center. St. Jude's is a great place to donate as well. But this is a way to do it, and to have a superhero in your pocket too, if you donate through me. So like I said, we've raised $1,500 so far. We're hoping to do a lot more than that.
Yes. And what do you hope people understand about the kids this fundraiser will help?
Well, that parents, when they're caretakers, when they're taking care of a cancer patient, no matter how much you love your kid or your wife or your husband or your cousin or whoever's got cancer, it is an exhausting job, and people need all the help they can get. So if you want to buy a box of age appropriate comic books and send them to a cancer ward for kids to read, do it. If you can volunteer to entertain kids, if you have a particular talent, do it. If you have a lot of money, a lot more money than I do, and want to make a donation, do it. It's people with cancer and kids with cancer are part of our community. We have to look out for each other. So yeah, I mean, I've got a daughter. I cannot imagine what it would be like if my daughter, how tired I would be and how much support I would need if my daughter, God forbid, got sick.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of families out there with less than I have. So we, figure out creative ways to show support and show it. I'm just doing it my way, but there's a lot of different ways I'm sure that people can come up with.
Yeah, love it. Like I said, we'll leave links in the description of this episode. So,
And my Instagram link will be in there too.
yes,
Also, the movie that my daughter and I made,
I
Brooklyn,
was just
Minnesota,
about to
should be
bring it up.
coming out right around now. So, tune in and see that. You can see, I watched the movie and I'm like, wow, there's a guy with stage 4 cancer who doesn't know he's sick. But you'll watch the movie and be like, wow, this is a really wonderful relationship between this father and this daughter. And they're both trying to help each other and doing the best that they can. And there's a lot of love there in the movie, so, and it's funny too, it's a dramedy, it's a serious film, but
Yeah.
it's pretty funny how my daughter and I give each other shit. It's pretty, nobody else could have played the father and daughter and her, because that kind of chemistry, you can't fake that.
And yeah, that's exactly what I was about to segue into. So thank you for that. Yeah, let's talk about your film, Brooklyn, Minnesota. You star opposite of your daughter, like you said. Can you tell us what was that like? And did this role, being a father and daughter, add something to the dynamic for the film?
Yeah, I mean, it did. I think especially having Amy Madigan there from Weapons. She plays Aunt Gladys. I think she's getting her own movie now too. Having Amy Madigan there made us really deepen what I had written and what my partners and I had written together, to go sort of beyond the page and look deeper into what some of the deeper meanings were there about letting go, about caregiving, about how long sometimes it takes grief to manifest itself, and about forgiveness. This is a complicated family with a complicated history. He had a very good reason for keeping his daughter away from his own father, and at the same time, even when somebody's gone, you have to learn to forgive them.
Mm.
And bridging that gap in this country right now, there's going to have to be a lot of conversations and a lot of forgiveness that happen over the years. I know we're not at the forgiveness spot right now. We're at the anger spot, which is justifiable and necessary. I hope it's not violent, but once people step out of the fog, there's going to have to be a lot of forgiveness and understanding that we lean into, or we're going to end up like a lot of other countries.
Right.
So that's one of the things that the movie crosses, is the gap between rural and city, and that's I cross that gap just in my own life, and I step easily into both worlds. I can fake it in both worlds, but in terms of people's personal politics and opinions and even what they eat and stuff like that, it's culturally different, and it's quite a shock for somebody from the middle of Ohio to show up in New York City and vice versa,
Yeah.
My daughter, somewhere in her mind, has a suburban high school thing, that she goes to a high school in suburbia where she's like a cheerleader, which is like the weirdest thing in the world, because she's this like tough New York City kid with her like pants down to her waist, and she's telling people to F off and stuff like that when they honk at her, and but somewhere in there sometimes she says, oh, wouldn't it have been great if I gone to a suburban high school? I was like, honey, it's tough there too. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all people, and forgiveness is everything, and my philosophy is love everybody all the time.
Love it. Before we get into the speed round, one other question. What does heroism mean to you now compared to what it meant when you first fell in love with stories, comics, heroes, etc.?
Heroism means showing up and listening.
Mm.
That's what my wife did, and that's what my daughter did. They really showed up and they listened. I saw them mature. I saw my daughter having 25-year-old responsibilities and being 14 throughout this journey. Not only on camera, but with me as a daughter. Yeah.
Love it.
Showing up and listening.
Well, now let's get into the speed round where I'm going to ask you a bunch of silly random questions. We're going to see how you do. Are you
Let's
ready?
see how fast I go. All right.
If you're the final boss in a video game, what would your title be?
Thorax.
What would your boss theme music be? And you can choose any song from anywhere.
It would probably be the Beatles. Why Don't We Do It in the Road?
Wow. If you were a superhero, what would your name be and what powers would you
I
have?
take that back. It would not be the Beatles. Why Don't We Do It in the Road? It would be the Clash. Guns of Brixton.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, keep going.
If you were a superhero, what would your name be and what powers would you have?
Everything Man. I think the name explains itself.
Everything. All of them.
Everything. All of them.
If you can live in the world of your favorite childhood show, movie, or game, which one would it be and why?
I think it would be that's a tough one. I think it would be Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
I think I would like to start off as first level in Dungeons and Dragons and see how I fared. Yeah.
Would
I
you
think it
be
would be Dungeons and Dragons, a world of wizards, witches, and warlords. Yeah.
Would you be a cleric?
No, I'd be what they call a gnome artificer, a bardificer, bard artificer. It's sort of a singing magician who creates magical toys.
Understood. Which character from your childhood favorite show, movie, or game would you most like to have as a friend in real life?
Shazam.
Billy Batson?
Yes, Billy Batson. Billy Batson. Shazam. I always love Shazam.
Oh, I love it. If your current favorite show or movie were to be adapted into a musical, what genre of music would you envision for it?
Oh, I totally would love to see Walking Dead adapted into a Grateful Dead musical.
Yes,
The Walking Grateful Dead.
that's a
Yes.
perfect answer. Oh
It's
my god!
I mean, it's a perfect fit.
That reminds me, a little side thing. Have you ever heard of the comic book artist Will Robson?
No, I don't know Will Robson. What did he write?
Will Robson is working on his own comics, which is like very zombie monster-esque. There's one called Outbreaks, which is a zombie comic series, and another one called Monster Mash, and it's kind of like an Agents of Smash type of deal, but with like, you know, Frankenstein and the Mummy and stuff like that. It's like kind of mafia-esque. It's really cool.
All right.
He's worked on Batman and Ninja Turtles and a lot of other big stuff for DC, Marvel, and etc. So he's a cool guy to look up. He's also a co-host of the Batman the Animated Series podcast, and he and his brother were guests here on the show. So I just wanted to shout them out for that.
Yeah.
If you could attend any fictional event, for example, the Ewok celebration and Return of the Jedi, which one would it be and why?
I think I would attend the conclave from the Marvel movie where it's Professor X and that group of people. What do they call them?
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati. I would like to attend a meeting of the Illuminati and have have an equal vote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What would your 14-year-old self think of who you are today?
My 14-year-old self would be blown away because all of his wildest dreams have already come true. And falling for a girl from New York City and having a kid with her was number one at the top of the list.
I love it. Well, it is now time for you to recommend 3 people that you'll share this episode with whenever it comes out, that you think they'd be a good guest on the show, and if you can help me get them on the show.
I will try, but like 3 people that I would recommend. Chad Coleman from Walking Dead.
Cool.
He's great. My friend Ben Pendergrast, who does voiceovers for a lot of video games.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, you'll know who he is. I'd recommend him because I could definitely get him on the show. And my friend Indira Varma. But listen, she was on Game of Thrones, and she's going to be in Dune Prophecy, and she's a very busy lady.
Understood.
And she also is she's the voice of Monstrous in the James Gunn animated, the Monsters.
Creature Commandos?
Yeah, Creature Commando. She's a Creature
Yeah.
Commando. She's like Lady Frankenstein,
Yeah,
monstrous,
yeah.
whatever they call her. Yeah. So maybe, but she's awfully busy. She and I are pretty tight. So maybe if she gets a spare minute, you'd have to keep it to 45 minutes though.
Oh, that's easy. Well, we've done that before, and I am patient, so I can wait.
Okay, groovy. All right. Well, Jared, it was really nice to meet you, man. What a fine way to spend the evening.
Yes, thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, just love everybody all the time. Take care of your friends, take care of your family, and pray for those who think differently than you.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode here on The Razzle Dazzle Show. If you want to hear more from Erik, be sure to follow him on his socials and consider donating to the Sloan Kettering's Children's Cancer Center. And don't forget to check out his award-winning film, Brooklyn, Minnesota. Be sure to let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet. Follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to rate us 5 stars and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one.
Next time on The Razzle Dazzle Show.
Watching these human beings, these like physical people create these voices that I had known for so long, so well, it was so like magical to me that everything made sense when I watched it. I was like, like everything kind of coalesced in this really beautiful way where it was like, oh, people that do this, like they're making the voices and it's a job and it includes theater and performance and voices and music. Like that was like, oh, everything that I've ever loved is in one job. That's the job that I have to do. Like everything, there was no decision after that point. I was like, that's exactly, I'm going toward that. And that moment was 16 and a half years ago. I remember. So from that moment to now has been that was literally the thing that sparked everything to get to here. So The Simpsons, I have that show to thank for many, many things.
Tune in next week.